It's not about restoring my cars or a how-to type of thing. It was more a space for me to share what I'm building, but also I wanted a space that featured some music. I'm in a band. I've been in a band since I was 13 years old. I'm in a band currently. I'm 55 now, so that clearly is not a phase that I grew out of. The origin of Doomed Motorwerks is the genre called doom or doom metal. And that sort of was the trigger that got me thinking about a way to sort of bring those two worlds together. The hot rod subculture and that rockabilly scene was always like the perfect marriage of those two things, you know. One thing that doesn't exist is the marriage of the musclecar scene and aggressive guitar-driven, you know, rock and roll from like the 60s and 70s. Sort of music that we play is sort of a natural progression from those eras, and I thought it would be neat to sort of bring the vintage cars and the vintage sounds of the 60s and 70s and give a look, sort of a snapshot of how that's evolved and what that looks like now in the 2020s. Born in '69, I came home from the hospital in a ermine white 62 Impala with the red interior. I've been hooked on the 62 ever since, literally pre-verbal days. You know, I have that vehicle burned in my memory. When my father retired about 25 years ago, he mentioned that he wanted a 62 Impala again. It was a really great experience to work with my dad. So we found this particular vehicle in St. Louis. Looks absolutely identical to the day we brought it home. My daughter was 1 year old. You know, I have a picture of her sitting in the driver's seat when we presented it to my dad. This vehicle will remain in my family for generations to come, and it will remain unchanged. To honor my father and my mother, who enjoyed the car for 25 years. They would get in the car and drive around and go out for ice cream or just cruise, and people would honk and give them thumbs up, and that made them feel so great. And in turn, that makes me feel great. And the crazy thing is I get those same reactions. As a matter of fact, I was 15 minutes late here today because as I was putting gas in the car, an older gentleman pulled off the street into the gas station and just talked about the car, and he had a 62 when he was young, and just talked about those memories. And that kind of connection, you know, it can get tough if you have to be somewhere on time, but that type of connection is priceless. It's a true black exterior, red interior 62 Impala. Non-SS, but a 327 four-barrel automatic car. It was repainted about 40 years ago by a previous owner in Roman red, which is also a correct color for 62, but not the correct color for this car. So most importantly, visually, the car will never change, but it's getting tired. It has a 327, the original 327 four-barrel motor. It leaks oil from everywhere, and when it doesn't leak, it burns. I have a large Journal 327 to go in the car this winter. It does need upgrades. Right now it has four-wheel drum brakes that are manual, they're not power, and they're single pot. So not only is it incredibly difficult to stop this huge car, it's a little dangerous because if that single pot goes bad, that car is not stopping. So this winter we'll be going to dual reservoir master cylinder, power brakes, disc brakes in front to just bring it up to more modern stopping standards. We haven't done anything to it other than keep it clean and waxed in garage for 25 years, but even back 25 years ago, it had a couple of spots of rust, a couple bubbles, which have never gotten any worse, but they're still there. So my hope is to take care of those this winter as well. And the trim, basically from stem to stern, is just hammered. This car is a driver, and we love it. We can take it anywhere and leave it in a parking lot, absolutely carefree, because it looks great from 20 feet, but it's not so nice that you worry about it. But it deserves better. My father passed in 2018, and we lost my mom in 2023. This will forever be my father's and my mother's 62 Impala, and it will be honored in such a way to never change its appearance.
Jesus Christ, this
Putting a car together is a lot of fun, and it's really satisfying to see an idea come to light. And develop through trial and error, and eventually finding the right combination of stance and color and sound and all that good stuff. Writing music is the same way. Coming up with a storyline or a lyric idea might be a solitary experience, but then getting together with your buddies and they might have a really interesting riff, and the bass player has another idea about where that song can go. As those things come together, it's the collaboration that makes both building a vehicle and writing music really similar and incredibly satisfying at the same time. So there's this weird connection for two completely unrelated sort of disciplines to just coexist so perfectly. When I write music, it is behind the wheel of my car. I might get some riffs or some song ideas as we're working on new material. I bring that out to my car and I get behind the wheel and I drive, because there's something about the windows being down, the air rushing through the car, the sound of the motor, and then that, guitar blasting through my speakers. My mind is sort of relaxed and let go. You can't get that sitting in your kitchen. You can't get that walking your dog. You have the smell of the oil and the exhaust, and you just hear the 327 just kind of ripping on the highway. Windows are rolled down and you are free and rolling. That sensation is everything. That spurs everything. That spurs my writing. That spurs my inspiration to build, because typically I have my radio on and I'm thinking about the next build or the next song. Getting in the car and driving and listening to music is everything. That is what Doomed Motorwerks really is about.